Well, what can I say? It's been great knowing you, SpongeBob. Good luck somewhere else. I'm gonna miss you. Boo-hoo, 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 boo-hoo.
Well, they finally did it. Aaron Rodgers is no longer a Green Bay Packer. The front office finally decided to face the music and look towards the future. And it was a long time coming. Hell, I know I've been begging for this to be done for the past 2 years, but it took a whole 2 months after the initial announcement for the trade to actually be finalized. It turned toxic fast as the whole situation turned into a he said, she said situation between Rodgers and the front office. At least after the darkness retreat, the front office finally realized Rodgers was quite literally holding the team hostage and becoming a cancer. It's now officially Jordan Love's time to shine. And even as a general NFL fan, you have to be happy for him. The guy's had to deal with so much ridicule over the past 3 years despite not playing a bunch simply because he wasn't Aaron. It wasn't his choice to be put in this situation. I felt like I was his biggest supporter as far as Packers fans go. Once I actually got to see him play in the league, I saw his potential. Even though he was very raw in his first start against Kansas City, most first-time starters wouldn't have fared much better when Steve Spagnuolo was sending 5+ man blitzes on 75% of the game's snaps. But despite that, he made some good plays and figured it out near the end of the game. He led a touchdown drive late in the fourth quarter to keep the Packers in it. Everyone was quick to knock him down after that game, but he proved them all wrong against Philadelphia last season. That game proved he could play. He looked comfortable. He looked dangerous. He hit almost every throw against the best team in the NFC. If you didn't have hope for the future after that, then I don't know what sport you're watching. Now, I'll be fair and say even I was questioning the Packers when they drafted him in the first round of 2020. It didn't make much sense at the time because they had just retooled to reopen their contending window and now they're already looking that deep into the future. It was confusing, but in hindsight it's much more understandable. That 2019 team got to the NFC Championship game because of their defense. Rodgers didn't carry the load like he normally did. He had a good season, but not an elite one by his standards. The offense ran the ball a lot more than usual as well. The Packers really didn't expect him to win back-to-back MVPs like he did. He was getting to the wrong side of 30, showed small signs of slowing down, and it was uncertain if he was going to be worth re-signing if he was still in the league by the time his contract ran out. With this pick, it allowed them to give Love time to develop under one of the greatest passers of all time and be able to step in if Rodgers did decline. But if Rodgers stayed productive, then they could trade Love if they needed the capital. Hell, they nearly did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers back in 2007 when they were this close to trading him to the Raiders to give Brett Favre an elite weapon in Randy Moss. It was an insurance pick to prevent them from scrambling to find a signal caller at the 11th hour. Look at the other team in this trade, in the Jets. This has been their whole MO for a while now, and look where it's gotten them. Nowhere at all. 2 playoff appearances since 2007, and those were in spite of their quarterback play, not because of it. Every single quarterback acquisition was plugged in immediately and seen as a quick fix savior. Trading for 38-year-old Brett Favre, trading up for Mark Sanchez, reaching for Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, and Zach Wilson, and now trading for a 39-year-old Aaron Rodgers. That's not sustainable. Sometimes it's better to take the pressure off of a young guy and have them watch and learn rather than to chuck him to the wolves immediately. And the Packers know this. They did the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. They gave him time to learn under Brett Favre and fix his mechanics without the pressure of leading the team on his shoulders right away. If he was a year 1 starter like he would have been if taken by San Francisco, I can guarantee he would have been minced meat like the other Jeff Tedford quarterbacks that were full-time rookie starters. Remember Achilles Smith, Kyle Bowler, and Joey Harrington? The start to his career wouldn't have been much better than Alex Smith's. Rodgers was given time to breathe and it was the best thing for his game. The same could be said about Jordan Love if he turns out well. Now in terms of the trade itself, it's not a bad haul, but look at what Seattle got for Russell Wilson last offseason. That could have been Green Bay. That's why I was begging the Packers to trade Rodgers after the playoff loss to San Francisco. Because instead of Seattle's future looking bright after a playoff appearance and a 5th overall pick in the same year, it could have been Green Bay in that spot. In terms of the draft, I was actually very pleased with it. They filled nearly every big position of need. I would have taken Myles Murphy instead of Van Ness at 13, but regardless, they needed a defensive end with that pick. They're starting 2 defensive ends left in free agency. Who knows how much longer Preston Smith will be with the team, and Rashawn Gary is coming off of an ACL tear. There wasn't going to be a great pass rusher available after the early 2nd round, so that was the time to pick that position. People were up in arms about not taking a receiver in the first again, but there was a lot of pass catching talent in this draft. There were going to be a lot of quality options on day 2, and the Packers knew it. They took 3 strong pass-catching prospects back to back to back in rounds 2 and 3. As long as these players can develop properly, the Packers could remain a force in the league for another decade. It could make losing to Detroit the best thing to happen to this organization since winning the Super Bowl in 2010. The offensive overhaul I wanted happened. It's time for the young guys to step up and make themselves known. I'm very hopeful for these new-look Packers. I'm excited about what's to come. And the main reason why? It's because I've seen this movie before.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl. The Lombardi Trophy is coming home.